Okay, so whenever this loads and you log in, this is your home screen. So during each opportunity, you have your checklist that you can assign certain people to those tasks. And this is where if I assigned you a task to say maybe call the inspector or call to get pictures taken, and I assigned those to you and it was today, it would show my task right here for you. So that's really cool.
Oh, I did not know that at
Yeah.
all. Is that can you create a template so when it goes to a certain stage, it automatically does that?
Yeah, so, well, let me show you how it's done and then maybe we can
Okay.
put it together. So in an opportunity, if I'm in a under this stage and I have a checklist, I can then add an item that says call inspector, whatever it may be. I can set a due date and I can also assign it to a specific person. So if I want to set a due date for today or tomorrow, I just hit save and then this is due at 9:04 a.m. tomorrow. And since I'm assigning it for myself, it will pop up on my task. If you have you established your checklist yet in your opportunities?
No, I didn't know that existed.
Oh,
so
okay, great.
So, yeah, I'm mind blown right now. You know.
Oh, yay. Okay, great. And we're only like 4 minutes into the call. This is awesome. Okay, so this is your opportunity screen. So this is your sales pipeline for your buyers and sellers. The potential income over here on the right-hand side, if every opportunity that was in your pipeline, all the way from cultivate to close, this is what I could potentially be making. Now, as you move your opportunities or your clients through the pipeline, your chances of closing are higher. So that increases your probability of closing. So this is what I have a probability of making because I have 4 under contract and 3 active listings. So I have a higher chance of closing than if all of my opportunities were in the cultivate stage.
Right. Okay.
And the cultivate stage is someone, that says, hey, I'm interested in buying or selling in maybe the next 3 to 6 months. And so you put them in here. So this is your, this could be your call list, your follow-up list to make sure that you don't forget to follow up with them and then you lose out on that, then potentially buying or selling. So within your sales pipeline, the cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and close are called phases. So they're a phase through the sales pipeline. Under each of the phases, so if I'm on the active phase of my sales pipeline, I have different stages set up. So I have a negotiations and a go live on flex stage. You can customize these stages to whatever you would like. You can delete all of them and only have one, or you could set up however many you would want. It just depends what your team would prefer. Whenever you log in, they come with already generic stages, and that's okay. You can edit the names, change them. If I didn't want go live on flex, I could just edit this and say, this is my active stage. So I could put all my opportunities under my active stage, and then if I had one long checklist for every time a listing goes active, I can enter this checklist here. So whenever a listing goes active, I can say, call photographer to schedule pictures. It may be, whenever it goes active, put on MLS, whatever your checklist may be. So every time you have a listing that goes active, this specific checklist will pop up. So you can create and customize that for all of these phases. So every time you have an appointment, I have kept scheduling scheduled. You can change it to whatever you want. And then as you create this, if you say, well, this is out of order, this should go here, you can drag and drop and move these to whatever order you would like. It's all customized for you. The probability, I wouldn't put too much worry and focus on. With the generic ones they already created had probability numbers already established, so you can kind of mimic what those are. But it's probability of then moving once as you get scheduled and they're kept, it's just moving them on that pipeline, that sales pipeline further down. So that's what the probability is for.
Okay, and I want to, just because I didn't And I realized the video screen was covering part of what was going on in the top right-hand corner.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I just edit stages. So you're in there, you click edit stages, and then you can change the checklist right there. Okay.
So I can either add new stages up here, and I can add checklist items associated with it, or I can edit over on the right-hand side. Can you see that now? I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
Yeah, I can. Okay. Yeah. No, I could see that part. It was just the top.
Awesome.
You were sitting in the top right-hand corner, and I didn't quite. You were going, and I was kind of lost in my own world a little bit. And then when I saw what you're doing, I was like, wait, I need to fully understand this.
Nope, that's perfect.
Yeah. So okay, that works.
And so
that's where you create the
let me know, because I'm glad you're able to. Thank you for pointing that out. So whenever you log into your opportunities and you click on your phase, you have these already generic ones, so you can always change those if you want.
Right.
You're totally customizable. You can make it as detailed or as simple as you prefer and your team prefers. So if I have all of these listings in my active stage, because this is the only stage I have under this phase, say my John Cook listing goes under contract, I can just drag and drop, and he's now under contract. Or if this one, maybe they're in the appointment phase and they're here, I just move them along, and when I move them along, if I have a checklist for each of these, it will now pop up right here. So if I have this checklist and I'm associated with a team, there is a button right here that says assign to someone, but since I'm not on a team, I don't have that option, but you will. So you can tell Rick that you want him to report this appointment to Stacy, and you could set a due date for him, and it would pop up on his task list. Or if you wanted to set your own due date for yourself, you can just set your own due date here.
Okay.
Perfect.
Gotcha. So that'll be something to play with and see what we can.
Yeah, exactly. And again, if you just want under the appointment just one stage, that's perfectly okay. And you just have one big checklist. Most people are wanting to prefer that. Some larger teams are like, no, we want to see it as it goes through from each one. And it's whatever you prefer.
Right. I can see coming from being on a big team, changing things. There's a point when you've got other people scheduling appointments.
Yeah.
You need the different levels, where when you're smaller, it may not be as important, but could become that way depending on the accountability you need. So it makes sense to me.
Correct.
I'm probably not going to change too much in it and let it until everyone figures it out, and Keller Williams will eventually come up with the best practice with what it should look like, I bet. So.
Yeah, and the reason they're allowing you to have all this customization is because they are allowing our agents to have a choice. You can choose it to whatever fits your business. And so if your team prefers it a certain way, great. Run it that way, excel at it, master it, and that's awesome. So it's whatever you guys would like to do, because at the end of the day, it's not really going to affect the market center side of it. It's just going to, in turn, show how your team needs to be ran.
Right.
Yeah. And then it's, if you go to all multiple stages, great. If you go to single, then this is, when you click on appointment, okay, these are all my people in a snapshot of what is going on. If you don't like this board style Trello view, you can click list view over here on the top right, and it will list, it can be in a list view. It's whatever you prefer. So you have the option of board or list, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we're back to our sales pipeline, so I have 2 active, 4 under contract, all of that. So I have all my listings. And so whenever this one is ready to go under contract, I can just drag and drop and it's under contract. So just because I move it under contract does not mean that I have the ability to create my green sheet yet. So what I mean by that is when I click on this listing, I have to have an offer in place before my commissions tab will be black. It's grayed out right now because I can't click on it. But there's a little eye and it says you will be able to view your commission when you have an accepted offer. So what's great about this is I can go in, and so my sales price is $125. So I'm going to create an offer. So If you have multiple offers, you can enter all those offers in, because then you can do an offer comparison and send it over to your buyers or sellers, or excuse me, sellers, for all those offers coming in, or you can just enter in one. So if I say offer one Callaway, and I put my offer in, I only have to enter in the information specifically that is in like asterisks. So, but if I know what they're entering in, I say, oh, they have an October 1st close date. They're offering it today. It's going to ask me what their name is. So I'm going to say Mr. Buyer. If I have the rest of this information, I can fill it in. And I can put if they're pre-approved or pre-qualified. And it's going to ask me who the agent on the other side is. So Andy agent. And I can put their information in too if I want. Then I have to enter my terms. It's not required, but obviously you want to enter in what terms are. So is it some cash, some finance? So let's say it's all cash, because that's a great offer. You're able to enter in any earnest money, option fees. If buyer will give notice of termination with blank days after contract, you're able to enter in all this information if you would like. And then if there's any pros or cons to that offer, and a summary, and I save it. So here I have one offer right here. So then if I want to add another offer, I will say offer 2, and go ahead. Did you have something to say? I'm sorry. Okay. So then say on this offer, same way. So I'm going Mrs. Buyer, Amanda, agent, and maybe I'm going to say that they're pre-qualified. And maybe this time they're having to USDA, it's all financed.
Okay.
No pros and cons. So now I have my 2 offers. So if I click select all, or whatever ones I want to select, I can click compare offers. And I have this nice comparison of a side-by-side of all the offers that have come in for this property. And it says that it's pre-qualified, correct. If there's any pros or cons, a summary, then I can either download this or I can email this offer to my sellers so they can look at it this way. And they're able to see a side-by-side of all the offers submitted.
Nice.
Yeah.
But it doesn't show now, and you scroll down. Oh, it doesn't. Okay. I was thinking it might show their net, like what they're expected to bring out of it, but it doesn't. So, okay.
Yep. So this is just a quick snapshot of what you would be able to show them. And so, yeah, it's right there. So then if I like this offer, because, yep, it's all cash, I will accept this offer. So once I've accepted this offer, my commissions tab, you can see it's thinking, but it's about to go black, which means I'm now able to create my green sheet because I have an accepted offer. I have a contract. So now my commissions tab is open. So this is where your green sheet will begin. The green sheets are not, the commissions tab is not live to where you can submit it, but I strongly recommend as you're running your transaction side by side, making sure that your total is matching up to what your green sheet total is, and if there's any other issues along the way, you can kind of see that. So you have your sales price, your commission amount. Say we were charging a flat fee of $3,500. I can type in $3,500 and it will calculate my commission price for me. Or say instead of 3%, it was now going to be 4.5. I can type in 4.5 and it will calculate that commission amount for me as well.
Okay.
So you're able to put either or to work back and forth with it.
Okay.
Multiple payments is when you would have like a lease or maybe a new construction where you're paying half now and then half later. But that's what multiple payments would be used for. So as we scroll down, you can see the agent breakdown. So since I'm logged in on my command, it's automatically assuming that I'm the one getting paid. But say I am splitting my commission with Tori. So I'm going to do $3,000 to me and she's going to get $750. So when I immediately enter a commission that did not match my commission above, it's going to tell you that not all the money's been paid out. And over here on the right-hand side, it's going to say valid, meaning that even if we're able to submit it, you can't because something isn't matching. So since I need to pay Tori $750, when I scroll down to the bottom, this Add Agent button is available. And so here I would click Tori Hunt, and I would click her, and I would add her. Now she's been added, and I can say she's getting $750 to then match up to the rest. And so then that will make the system happy, and it will work its way out to where all the money's been paid out. Well, $750. Let's see. So then that's where it would be good. So then here, this is where you can see in real time how much you've paid into your company dollar cap and your royalty cap, which is awesome because normally you've either had to keep track on a spreadsheet, you've either had to wait till after we transmitted to see where you were at when the month ended, or you had to come and ask us how much you had left. So right here, this is the answer to all of those questions for you. Now, again, whenever you're creating these commissions, it's the same way how it is now, where you will cap whenever we close out, when we close out the order of checks that we receive. So on this one, it may say that you're capped, but when we close it out, you may not be capped, and then we close out another check. This is kind of in real time, but it ultimately depends on when we close out of what check order of when you potentially cap. But this is a great snapshot for you. Also down here, you don't have to pay out E&O because we do that in our monthly billing. KW Cares, KW Kids Can, and Bold Scholarships are all of those KWRI national scholarships or donation charity funds that are in red on your green sheets. If you are wanting to donate to Springfield Cares, or if you are wanting to put money towards your office bill, you would click Add Item here at the bottom, and you would choose deduction, because that's how you are deducting money. So if you want to put money towards your office bill, I would hit deduction, say I wanted to put $150 towards my office bill, and I would say KW office fees, pay to KW, and then right now all the stuff in asterisks, it's requiring that you enter that stuff in, but since I know you're paying it directly to the Market Center, it's okay if you just put in 9 zeros. I'm okay with that. Because your description is showing it's coming to our Market Center. So I know what our tax ID number is. So I'm not worried about that. Eventually, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so say you were going to, just because I'd been talking about doing something for like family reunion or May camp, you know,
yeah.
What would I just put in my tax ID?
No, you would just put that you're putting it in a family reunion fund, because that's where we'll associate it with your name. So how that works is you're going to put this money, you're wanting to start saving for mega camp or family reunion. You can say, I want to put money towards my family reunion fund. It will go into that account, but I then have a separate spreadsheet of each person and what money they're allocating into that account. So you just need to put the description, and it's paid to, you know, Keller Williams Springfield, and it will associate your name to that deduction. And then at the end of the year, I run a deductions report and send it to everybody that had a deduction, and you can use that for your tax purposes. So at the end of the year, if you put money into your family reunion fund, I would then send you a report of, okay, this is every time that you close out a transaction and you put money to this fund, so you can give that to your account.
Okay, that makes sense. That was kind of the one that I've been just recently thinking about, you know. Yeah. So now, once you add something like that, will it be there? Do you have to add it every time, or does it stay there?
Add the deduction?
Yeah.
Yeah, right now you're going to have to add it every time you want to. Sometimes people don't add every closing, but you know, that's a great idea that as this advances, you may have the ability that it customizes. Oh, Guy always wants to give a certain amount to his family reunion fund. Click here, and it may eventually do that.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know, because even I knew we had the time. I don't know if we're still doing it where stuff's going to Springfield Cares automatically or whatever. So.
Yeah, and then so if you wanted to donate to Springfield Cares, you just type in if I can spell this morning, my goodness, Springfield Cares, and then you just put in that description right there. And what this is doing now on the green sheet previously, even though you entered it, Tori and I still had to go through when we were converting it to your DA. We would still then have to go add this deduction. now that you're able to do this, it's going to then match with our system, and so it automatically does that. And eventually, there will be a description drop down to where you're able to select from all of our deductions that we have entered into our system. So it matches. So it's really cool.
Nice.
Now, say you have a transaction fee or a bonus. This is where you would put this amount in. You would you would go to add item down here, and then choose type, and you'd select bonus, and then you can put that amount with it. So with your transaction fees, if you charge those, the market center doesn't take a portion of it, but it does take a portion off of royalty. The reason that there's this split with market center is some market centers do take a portion of if they charge a transaction fee. So that's why that option is there. Same way also, if you were wanting to do an outside referral, you would still click this add item button, click choose type, and scroll down to outside referral. And then you're able to put in the referral percentage, the amount. Now I do ask that you do put the tax ID number, broker information, and the agent it's going to, just because we need to make sure that those are matching up with our records. But again, eventually there will be a drop down where you're able to select all of the other brokerages that are in our system with their tax ID numbers that it will auto populate for you.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
So, and this is where you would enter an outside referral in. So then with your snapshot into here, so if you are adding Rick or Ronnie to a green sheet, you can see that they have different trackers for each person. So that's really cool. And then when you're all set to go, then you'll eventually be able to hit the submit button, and that's how you'll submit your green sheet. And here's a little snapshot for you of your total commission, how much you paid into royalty, company currency, which is company dollar, how much you are paying to the agents and the splits, and then this is the total that you're paying to the office with company dollar and royalty combined.
Okay. And the one thing I assume it'll be different when it comes to, obviously we do this when we put the property under contract, and then something comes up and commissions are adjusted, sales price is adjusted, whatever. Will we be able to come in and edit this, or is it going to be
yes,
like we have to do now?
Edit this part up through here, and it will let us know that you're editing your commissions.
Okay.
So you'll be able to resubmit, and it will talk with our system saying, hey, the same opportunity ID is submitting a new green sheet, and then we'll get that from our system.
Yay, that's probably the most exciting thing.
I know, it's really cool. And one of the other exciting things that I love is that if you have a mutual release, you're able to, on your details tab, click lost opportunity, and it will take it out of our system. So you'll no longer have to get emails or calls from us saying, hey, is this closing? Did it get pushed to another date? Did it blah, blah, blah? You're able to update all of this, and it tells us in real time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's a great point. So if, for instance, I'm in this opportunity and we had a closing date of 10/1, I can go back to my details tab of this specific opportunity, click this pencil here, and I'm able to update this information as we go along. If this closing date has changed, maybe it's closing, today, I can hit save and it's closing and it updates us.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Really cool. Yeah. And so eventually, when we're fully transitioned into command from a market center side, we won't be using DA numbers anymore. We'll be using opportunity IDs, and this is where you'll find the opportunity ID that matches up with ours.
Okay.
Yeah. And then whenever in your snapshot, as you scroll down through your opportunities, so you have your listing pipeline, your buyer pipeline, if you have any sort of leases, then you have your activity of your ratio of where everything is at. And it will show you everything at the bottom that's closing. Closing this month, these are all my closings. So you're able to look at that in a nice snapshot as well. So you may not have to have those big marker boards in your office anymore if you don't want to have those to show what is
right.
Yeah. So really cool. And then you have a trajectory. Obviously, I've been growing a lot because I've been creating a lot of opportunities lately. But here's a little bit of that. Now, since you're on a team, some people have this and some people don't because there's a little glitch right now. But whenever you log in, you may have an option that says select team here at the top. If you do, make sure you always select that before you start contacts and or creating opportunities. If you don't worry about it. Some people do, some people don't. But what's really cool about teams is in your opportunities, I would have my team name here, and then I would have my own name here. So if I wanted to see all the opportunities for people on my team, I would just click my team name, and it would show all of our opportunities. And then there would be a drop-down box right here in this area that I could filter what agents I wanted to look at specifically for their production. And I would just select agents, and I would be able to select who I wanted to see. Or if I just wanted to see mine, I could select my name or click my name that would be right here instead of all opportunities, and I would be able to see just my opportunities. Now, are you seeing it on your screen?
I thought I wanted, while you said it, I was like, oh, let me pull that up and look. So yeah, I don't know that I have a drop down to change.
Okay. If you don't have a drop down up here, don't worry about it. That's fine. Some people do, some people don't. And it's not a good or bad thing if you do. It's just an option. But if you do have that, then you would select your team. If you don't, don't worry about it.
Mine is just like on my screen, it says Callaway Gardener Team, Guy Callaway, and then all opportunities. And then I do have a drop down for all agents, but I don't have anything at the top where I can change how I view it, I guess. I wanted to look at it just because I've had some, like, to me, when I look at opportunities on mine, like right now when I look at as the team, it shows we only have one opportunity in there. And then when I click on my name, then I've got multiple stuff going on. So it's that's why I was like, maybe I'm doing something wrong. So
yeah, whenever you're creating an opportunity, you click create opportunity. There should be an option that you're able to select your team name. Have you been able to select that when you've created your opportunity?
It is in there. Let me do one other thing just in case. So I did it. So if I click on my name and click create opportunity, it's not under the team.
So you want to make sure it's under the team. And a way to correct that, now that you have that pulled up, I'm checking something really quick on my other screen. It's in a setting. There is a way that you can create a setting so no one can create outside opportunities except for within the team. That way, one, it alleviates the confusion of, is where I can't see it. Oh, wait, I accidentally entered it on my team. Let's see. Okay.
That makes sense.
So you can click your name in the top right, and you go to settings. Mm-hmm. So whenever you click your name and go to settings, if you go to command settings, there should be one that is called team permissions on the left-hand side. Do you have that?
I do not.
It's probably listed under an opportunity or.
Oh, it's under sales pipeline.
Okay, yes. Click sales pipeline, click team permissions. And so then this allows, you can either say no one can create opportunities outside of the team, or you can give special permission to different people on your team. Now, I totally get sometimes if people want to allow special permissions outside of the team. It just depends what your team's set up on. But for the most part, the reason why I like to tell people to click no is because if, say, Rick was entering in opportunities under his name accidentally and didn't get to select the team, then there's no way to move it from him to the team. You'll have to remove them and then re-enter them.
Oh, so like even mine, I can't move it over.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. So that's why I like to tell people just to click no. That way you're making sure it's funneling all under the team.
Okay. Well, I will make that. I made that change now. So.
Yeah. That's kind of an issue I've seen through a couple of people. And so then that's been kind of a factor whenever they're like, oh, I can't see my opportunities, like on my team members. And I'm like, well, you need to make sure that's clicked so no one can accidentally enter them in.
Right.
So, Yeah, just a precaution for that. But yeah, so with all your opportunities, it's a great snapshot. Now let's talk about, do you feel comfortable with commissions?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to click on my opportunity here that's active. Now let's talk about compliance. So compliance. Go ahead.
I'm just kidding. I said let's not talk about compliance.
Yeah, right. It's kind of an ugly scene at some points. But first, did you mention that you haven't connected your DocuSign account?
Yes, I have not. Right, I have not done that.
Okay, so
account, so
let's do that really quick. So click your name at the top right of your screen, and you'll go to settings.
Okay. Go to settings. Okay.
Okay, so on your front screen, do you see DocuSign and it says maybe connect account?
Yes.
Okay, you'll hit connect account, and then you'll enter your name and your email.
Okay.
So what that will do is it will send an email to the email you've entered. Normally they like your KW email over others, but I have seen people that have been able to create it without. So it's whatever, I guess, email you're using. I don't have an answer to that. That will send you an email to that email to then accept the terms. You'll create a DocuSign password, and you'll create that account. Once you've entered all of that done in through your email, you'll go back to your DocuSign and click Activate Account, and then it will ask you for your DocuSign password that you created, and that's how it will connect that account for you.
Awesome. Okay.
And then okay, so then once everything is connected and created, this would be your DocuSign room or home screen once everything's connected. Now in DocuSign, they're called rooms and not loops. So that's a little different lingo to know. And then what compliance is going to look like is compliance that we review, all of your documents will be done in Command. DocuSign is just a platform to get your documents from and or get signatures from. So if you have documents that, for instance, whenever you scan them through, like your closing check and your HUD, you have the option in Command to either pull them from your desktop or DocuSign. So the only reason you'd be pulling forms from DocuSign is if you've had forms that have been electronically signed through their platform.
Okay.
So for what compliance looks like is I created compliance checklists for every stage whenever a listing is listed, when it goes under contract, and when it's closed. So this is my screen. I'll show you what your screen will look like in a little bit. But from my side, what I had to do, and I spoke with Jim and Dawn, we went through and we listed, okay, what are all the documents for a listing that are required when it's listed, when it's under contract, and when it's closed? And this is what the R means, is that it's required. Then we said, okay, what are documents that are conditionally required, meaning earnest money, lead-based paint, government loan writer. Those are conditionally required because there's only specific instances when you would need those documents. And that's what the CR means. Then we went and thought, okay, what are other documents you may need? Now, originally I got very specific on disclosures, and I said pool and hot tub, well and septic. And then I realized there's so many other disclosures that I may not get them all correct, that I just created like blank placeholders. So say outside of your seller's disclosure, you had all of these other disclosures you were needing. You could add a disclosure into here, a disclosure into here, and a disclosure into here. Or you don't have to add any of them. It's just optional if it happens on your per listing or per transaction basis. Same way with disclosures. If you have other disclosures and they are signed, you will need them when they go under contract for the list side. So here's those disclosures. If you have counter offers, here's where you would need them. However, the final counteroffer is the one that has to be submitted for compliance if you have counteroffers, because that is the executed contract. So here, the final counteroffer is here, but you can enter in the other counteroffers if, for instance, if they go up to 3 or 4. Same way with the amendment, and then here's the referral agreement in W-9. Now, for the listing side, when it's closed, here are your required documents. Some teams like to receive a copy of the signed final walkthrough. So I've added this placeholder for those teams that have it, they can enter that in for them. So if I go to the buyer, same way. So originally they only gave us under contract and close, but for the consultation, they recently added it, which will be the first step. So they're eventually going to move consultation over to the far left-hand side. They just haven't yet. So that's whenever you get your buyer's agreement signed for that. So that's where it would lie in here. And same way, so there's some required docs, some conditionally required, and some optional as well. So that is what the checklist will look like. Then we move to what it will look like in an opportunity. So if I'm in an opportunity, let me pull this up really quick. Okay, so perfect. So we will click on under contract, and here is our documents. So just like I showed you that my checklist that I've started, this is what it would look like. So here's my listed. I have all these documents, and you can see right here it's saying what kind of a agreement, or if it's agreement, disclosure, contract. But below it, it says required, 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 conditionally required, or optional. Then when I go under contract, these are the documents that are going to need to be required, or optional, or conditionally required. Same way with closed. Here's your checklist as well. So what I would do, some teams or some individuals have specific checklists or maybe documents that they get signed by their buyers or sellers that necessarily aren't needed for compliance reasons, but they like to have them in each transaction, you can upload those documents over here on the left-hand side where it says add new custom folder. So if I wanted to do closing or team cover sheet, I could create my own folder over here, and I could add all those documents in here if I wanted to. But they're just not needed for compliance, so this is where you would add them in. And you would just click add document over here on the right-hand side, and you would just say I'm wanting it to add it in here. If I want to click what kind of, maybe it's an agreement, and if I want to enter any notes, I can browse, drag and drop, and browse and put a file into here. Just click browse, and it will pull it. And that's where sometimes teams download like PDFs of all their email communication, and they just want to put it into here as well.
Oh, wow. Wow. So one question in DocuSign, one thing, just since you said, because you said the team cover sheet, we use cover sheets. Mm-hmm. Will DocuSign give us the ability to have those in there, or do I need to look at something else? I do a lot on the computer. We'll print them out, I guess, but I'm just thinking through that. I don't know if you know.
I'm not 100% sure if DocuSign will allow you to upload your own specific documents. Okay. I think you potentially could. Once you create your account, you'll be able, you potentially right here, I think you can add, if you go to top to My Docs, I think you can add documents like a folder or individual docs up here. So I think that is a possibility. I'm just not 100% sure on it yet because the full capability within DocuSign is not ready. Okay. I've had multiple people ask me that, and I think that is a strong possibility.
Okay.
Yeah, great question. Okay, so say I'm ready in this specific opportunity, I now need to create a room or a loop for it. So those specific documents I'll need. So if I'm ready to upload the seller's disclosures, I can add file, and for some reason it's not working for me, but on your screen, what you'll have, I think it's because I'm not incognito. But you'll have an option of manual download, which means from your hard drive of your computer, or DocuSign. And you can click DocuSign and it will take you to DocuSign of those specific documents you've had signed. So, or if I'm ready to start a transaction or a room and I haven't, I just click start a transaction and DocuSign will then pop up for me and I'm able to pull those documents through there. So right now, the documents are not loaded in DocuSign. DocuSign is giving KWRI a little bit of trouble for pulling those documents in. So you're still able to use dotloop for signature, but eventually, and probably here in the next 10 days, we're going to switch over to all compliance and command. So you can still so the loops you've already created, you can still use them to get signatures. You just then have to bring those files over, download them as PDF, and add a file from your desktop over into command for compliance.
Okay, and I've played with doing that. It was cumbersome, but I did do that a little bit. So,
yeah.
With one.
Right now you can't mass upload, which is kind of unfortunate. But I think it's something that they're working towards because a lot of people are wanting it. But these right here, there's no documents assigned to them. These are considered like placeholders and saying, hey, I need a document here. Make sure you give me a document because it's required for compliance.
Right. It reminds me of if you use the template in dotloop for those that I typically don't. I never have done that because I always had a folder with the documents I needed. I had my own kind of deal, but if I have used the templates, it gives you that place to put the documents if it's not one that's in dotloop already. So
yeah, exactly. So I'm just going to add a file from my computer. Let's say I'm clicking on this file. I'm going to open it and sign. So now I have a document that's ready. And if I'm ready, I can submit documents. Now, here's the issue. Once you've submitted documents, you can't just keep resubmitting, which is kind of the hard part. So before in dotloop, you could just submit all these files whenever you want. But once I've submitted a file, and if the compliance company has not reviewed it and responded, you can't keep submitting new files. So that's kind of a downside. So you'll want to get as many as you can in here and submit. Of course, you'll be able to submit as much as you want, yet compliance will have to be reviewing as much as they can in that time of fashion. So it's going to be a little hectic at first. It's a little bit of a difference. But that's kind of where it's at. So I'll just be adding all my files. Once it's submitted, it's saying it's submitted at 9:53 a.m. So on my side of the compliance, I'm going to show you what it looks like for me. So in my command, I have this thing called CloudMore, and it's what we're using. So I'm going to show you compliance requests. So right now, these are all the people that have been submitting compliance stuff through us. And we're kind of working out of both right now, but eventually we'll be all in command. So where is my, oh, it looks like someone's already removed mine. Oh, crap. They removed my test one. So I'm gonna say, this is telling me where you're at in the transaction, which is awesome because I can then filter it by, okay, I want all the ones that are at closing, so I can make sure I'm getting those quickly so they can get paid on time. If it's, under contract, great. If it's listed, great. I can see where everybody's at in this transaction with it and see what they've submitted and what they haven't submitted. So if I'm ready to review, I can review all documents, and what that will do, it will pop up a screen for me, and I'll be able, just like dotloop, to review them. That's how my screen looked before, and it gives me a snapshot. Now, if I approve a document, this is what it will look like, approved. If you haven't uploaded anything, it will say not uploaded. If you uploaded it, it's right here, but maybe it's not all the way submitted for compliance because I have to respond to all these before they can resubmit. If I return the document, this is what it will look like. But what's really cool about this compared to dotloop is in dotloop, you had that message box in the top right-hand corner that had everything that you needed with your whole file. So sometimes if it was a long list, you had to take a picture, then to match it up with what file they were talking about. This way, when we reject it, we will add a note to that specific document. So whenever you scroll here, it will say, okay, I need all of this done for this document. Then if this document, maybe it was line 122 needs completed, and this document and this document. So you're able to match it up per each document.
Nice.
Yeah, really cool. So then if I return this and I need to upload a new file or make changes or whatnot, I can click replace, and I can replace that file with the new file that I've corrected in DocuSign.
Okay.
So then I replace it through here. Now, as I say, I've added 5 different MLS data input sheets. I can click version history, so it shows me what has been changed throughout these documents. And that's great for, you know, MREC, for if we ever get audited, so we can show, okay, this is the changes that were made, and this is what the final version that was approved looked like. So if there was ever any changes, we were able to track those. Or if we saw that someone had uploaded it 7 different times, then that's a conversation that we can have with that agent and saying, okay, what are you not understanding about this form? How can we help you get these changes done one time so you're not wasting your time doing it 7 different times? Things like that.
Right.
So this is what our side of it will look like. And then once we reviewed all documents, we'll be able to then have your response, and then you'll be able to look at them that way. Okay. Does that kind of make sense for the most part?
Yes, that does make sense.
Okay, perfect. So then that is my side of the transaction. And so this is what will be viewed. Now, so submitted is right here. Then if you resubmitted it, this is what it will look like for us. Then if you have changed a document, we will get this notification showing that you've changed a document, which is great. So we can see, okay, they've uploaded a new document. We need to see that. If a document is open, it means nothing's been loaded into it, returned and approved. And this is what all of the different signals will look like through it. So, but yeah, so that's it for the most part for compliance. Cool things about DocuSign that are a little different than Dotloop. In Dotloop, if you had a husband and wife, they had to have different emails to send documents to. In DocuSign, they can use the same email. So by doing that, if I was sending it to the husband and they were using the same email, I would give him a special code. So whenever you're about to send a document to one email, it would just be maybe my special code to him would be 111, and then the wife's code would be 112. So whenever they get the link to sign the documents, he would enter in 111, and it would take him to every specific document that he needed to sign that was assigned to him. Then he would say he was done signing. Then the wife would click on the link, and she would put in her code, and then it would take her to all the special places that she needed to sign. So that's really cool. So, because I know sometimes there has been an issue of needing to create a separate email just so they could sign, both of them could sign. So that's really cool. And then
and no matter what, even if they have separate emails, they do have to have their own code, right?
Well, if it's 2 different emails, they don't have to have a code. If they're using the same email, they're required to have a code. That way, it's creating a little bit of the husband's not automatically able to sign for the wife. It at least creates a barrier that they have to come across. So if I was assigning the husband and wife the code, I would then send them a separate email or text saying, hey, I'm just sending over a package of envelopes for you to sign for your house. Here's your specific code for you to sign. And then they would be able to sign that way.
Gotcha.
And whenever you assign the codes, there's also an option to include a special message, but do not include the code in that special message because they have to enter the code before they get to see the special message. So we were testing it out, and so we're like, oh, great, we can put the code in this message. Well, I had to know the code before I could see what the code would be, technically. So, fun fact. But yeah, so that's do you have any other questions over compliance?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
It makes sense to me.
Yeah. I would recommend just running everything side by side right now, especially in the transition. So if you have any new transactions that you're signing paperwork with, go ahead and start adding them in as opportunities. And working through that, getting it kind of right how you would like, using Dotloop and DocuSign. We're still working on seeing when DocuSign will get those forms. And we were told by the 15th. If not by the 15th, we will have a new solution, like if we continue to use Dotloop for a little bit longer. But we're still working through that right now. Yeah, I would just run them side by side, and any questions that you have, reach out to me. Let me know what they are, and I'm definitely here to help you. And I'm teaching basically the same kind of class every week for the next month. That way, I'm trying to get everybody on the same page. So you can totally come, but it may be some of the same stuff you've heard, yet there may be other questions or new advances during that time that we're highlighting.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome. Sheila, are you on the call? Do I see your name popping up? Maybe. If she is, if you are, I can't hear you. So, Sheila, if you have any questions, please feel free to email or call me because I can't really hear you right now. But I'm definitely here to help. So, okay. Well, Guy, if you're good and you feel great, then we'll go ahead and just end the call. But if you think of anything moving forward, just let me know.
I will do it. You opened my eyes to so much more today. It was amazing. You're awesome.
Okay, great. I'm glad you found value in it. That's awesome. Yeah, the big thing out of all of Command, there's so much you can do. Just understand how to add contacts, set them up to smart plans, and create opportunities. That way you're not stopping your business during this transition, and you're able to continue business. And then as you get that mastered, then you're able to dive more into Command and what it can do for you.
Perfect.
Awesome. Okay. Well, have a great day, and I will talk to you guys later.
All right. We'll see you.
Awesome. Thanks. Bye.